And then in your classroom, you will each be working with this handout that has 3 brief texts, just passages from something bigger that you're going to have to paraphrase and summarize. So hopefully we're going to give you that foundation today. That's the plan, is that you will get the foundation today. You will understand the difference. You will have the tools to use and be able to work on that, okay? So the first thing, we're going to talk about paraphrasing. I have this kind of cute little video. Now see, it's not showing again, so we need to do that.
I'll come help. Can I just take this here? Will you make it show the video, please? Yeah, that's fancy.
You.
Wait, let me see, let me see. Okay, at least it's running now.
Paraphrase. I know you've heard the word plenty of times before. In fact, it may make you go, yow, yow, yow. However, the skill of paraphrasing doesn't need to be scary or frustrating. In fact, good paraphrasing is a sign of good learning. Once you know that and realize that writing a good paraphrase takes time, you'll begin to love it. Well, okay, at least appreciate it. Now, you may have heard about paraphrasing in relation to another word. Should I even say it? It's plagiarism. Wait a minute. Don't be afraid. Though being a good paraphraser can help you avoid plagiarism, it means more than that. First, let's define paraphrasing. According to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary online, a paraphrase is a restatement of a text, passage, or work, giving the meaning in another form.
Okay, I'll stop it so that you can write this down. I also want you to notice that I have posters on both sides that have further definitions of paraphrasing and summary. These might trigger some understanding where she didn't. I have these little short ones. Summarize it, paraphrase it. SUMPARA. Put the text in. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay? But this is what paraphrasing is. It's a restatement. Telling the story again, although we're not talking about stories now, are we? We're talking about passages or some kind of work.
She's saying if you don't get it, look at the other things she's posted to where you need to make sure you get it. Get the difference and get what it is. You don't have to write exactly the words she shows you, but you do have to write the definition, right?
Okay? When you paraphrase, you've heard the 5 W's all your life, I'm sure. When you paraphrase, you have to include all that. Where, who, what, when, why, even how. Okay? Because paraphrasing, you are restating the entire thing. Can we move on?
Other words, you are processing a quote, so the idea remains the same, but it is shared in your own unique way, kind of like the way tomatoes are processed into ketchup. If we think about it that way, potato chips are kind of like paraphrases of potatoes, and hot dogs are paraphrases of, I'm not really sure. Anyway, the near cousin of paraphrasing is summarizing. They both involve restating an author's ideas. However, summarizing condenses the material, while paraphrasing retains all of the ideas. As a result, paraphrases are approximately the same length as your original quote, while summaries are shorter. Now, you might ask, why not just quote everything? Let's talk about a few reasons. If you include too many quotes, your paper will sound like a mashup of too many other people's voices. Paraphrasing allows your writing to keep a consistent style. Also, when writers paraphrase, they demonstrate true understanding of another's ideas. That's why paraphrasing involves more than changing a few words and adding synonyms. Being able to express an author's ideas in your own voice shows that you have truly learned the material. Some people might even say it's just bad writing to always use someone else's words instead of finding your own voice. Now hold on. This doesn't mean you can't quote. Sometimes you simply can't paraphrase effectively without changing the meaning. So in that case, you can quote. Other times, the way the idea is stated is so authoritative that it would diminish the meaning if you paraphrased. Lastly, if you're using literature or primary sources, your reader may want to see the original words, in addition to your analysis of it. So in those cases, it's totally fine to quote. Now, here's a few things you'll want to consider when paraphrasing. Make sure not to add your own opinion or change the meaning of the author's idea. You'll have plenty of time to comment on, disagree with, and analyze the author's ideas after the paraphrase ends. When you quote, it's easy for the reader to see when another person's idea ends and your analysis begins. But how does your reader know that the paraphrase is over? Yep, you guessed it, an in-text citation. As I mentioned before, make sure you digest the idea thoroughly and put it into your own words. The language and sentence structure should be your own. That is why paraphrases take a while to write, but that's also why they show how well you know the material. Lastly,
Okay, remember on your paper there's a place. The idea should remain the same. What's the same is the main idea, right? The idea, what's different would be the language and sentence structure. Language and sentence structure.
That means words and the order it's in, right?
Okay? You don't want to change the author's idea, but you have to sort of internalize it. You have to eat it and regurgitate it and spit it back up. And of course, when you do that, it's not going to be the same as it went in. Okay?
lastly, a blend of paraphrase and the author's words can be used, but don't forget to put the exact words in quotation marks. The best way to improve your paraphrasing is to practice. So let me get it out of the way so you can give it a try. Here's a quote taken from page 26 of a book by an author whose last name is Davis. If the existence of a signing ape was unsettling for linguists, it was also startling news for animal behaviorists.
Okay, whoops. Don't look at the bottom. All right, let's talk about, let me erase this for you. Write some stuff. Okay, we want to paraphrase this original little statement, okay? What does that mean? It means you're going to restate the author's words in your own words, okay? And you're going to include the main idea, right? Isn't that what we said up here? We're going to include the main idea. So let's think about this. What would be the main idea of that? Anybody? What was that? Signing apes. Yeah. Okay, that's part of it. Signing apes. And what about the signing apes?
That it would be a big new thing that would make a large impact.
Is that what that says, or is that your opinion? See, that's opinion. We don't put that in there. We're going by just what it says.
Just restatement, Harrison.
Because
What is
we're
the restatement?
restating it. Okay, let's look at what she has at the bottom of the screen.
Now, let's take a look at a sample paraphrase. An ape who knew sign language unsettled linguists and startled animal behaviorists.
Okay. The original. If the existence of a signing ape was unsettling for linguists, what's a linguist? Do you know? Is it a sausage? What's a linguist? What do you think it might be when you're looking at this? No idea?
You heard of linguistics? Something to do with what?
A person that studies language.
Yeah, something to do with language, exactly. Something to do with language. It was also startling news for animal behaviorists. Well, you probably understand that because it's people who study the behavior of animals. Okay, so language and animals. That ties in because an ape is an animal, and if it can sign, then it's got some kind of a language, right? So here's the first paraphrase. An ape who knew sign language unsettled linguists and startled animal behaviorists. Is it the same idea? Yeah. How about the language and sentence structure? Same or different?
Different.
Is it?
There are differences. Are there any that are the same though?
Yeah. It uses
What?
like kind of startled, and then it has animal behaviorists.
Yep. Startling for animal behaviorists, startled animal behaviorists, unsettled linguists, unsettling for linguists. An ape who knew. It's ape, assigning ape. Kind of the same sentence structure. Yeah, they changed a few words.
So, what do you think of this paraphrase? You're totally right. There are words used directly from the original sentence. It doesn't look like the writer really processed and learned the idea in the original quote. So let's try this again. If the presence of a sign language using chimp was disturbing for scientists studying language, it was also surprising to scientists studying animal behavior.
Okay. What are the things about a paraphrase is it could end up being a little bit longer than the original? Does it have the main idea? Does it have key points? Is the main idea the same? Is the sentence structure and language the same or different?
The words are different, right? What about the order? What about the sentence structure?
What do you think?
It's okay to think to be wrong. That's all right. Better than nothing.
Anybody want to take a guess? Let's see what she has to say.
You've got a good eye. Even though the words are different, the sentence resembles the original quite a bit in how it's put together. I know we could do much better than that. What do you think of this one? When they learned of an ape's ability to use sign language, both linguists and animal behaviorists were taken by surprise.
Okay. Same idea? Yeah. Different language and sentence structure? Did you say yes?
Yes.
Okay. What do we see? We have when, if the existence. That's an if. It's kind of like an if and then. But when they learned of it, they were surprised. Okay? And an ape's ability to use sign language. That says the same thing, just in a lot different way, really, right? And then they combined the linguists and the animal behaviorists, because being unsettled and being startled is close to just being surprised, okay?
Yep, you got it. That's much more like it. What a fine-looking paraphrase.
Whoops.
Phew, that was a lot of info in one tutorial. So if you have any questions, just ask. Bye-bye.